Hey, how's it going, fight fans? Welcome to Mind for Combat. If you're new to the channel, my name is Rohan, and this is my platform where I do fight sports related content. So if you're new here, why don't you help me grow my platform? All you have to do is subscribe to the channel, like the video if you like it, and maybe hit that notification bell so you get updated every time I upload a video. With that said, in this video I'll be taking a look at the Anthony Joshua vs Tyson Fury heavyweight unification fight, and more specifically at why Anthony Joshua will destroy Tyson Fury in their fight. Now, before I get into this video, I'm just going to caveat that by saying I've actually got a detailed full breakdown of the fight and how I really see this fight going on my channel. So if you haven't already, check it out. And you know, to go with this video, I'll also be doing a video on why Tyson Fury will destroy Anthony Joshua. So I think it's important to check out all the perspectives. Obviously, don't write off the video just because of the title. And anyways, let's get into the video. So, one of the things that I've said regularly in some of my videos is for the sport of boxing to continue to thrive in 2021 and beyond, what it needs to do is start putting on the best fights, which is number 1 versus 2 fighting each other for all the marbles, so that we can have one consistent champion. They need that in the lightweight division, they need that in the heavyweight division, they need that in the welterweight division, all divisions. What is important to note is that as the world of combat sport has a lot of attention on it right now because of everything that Jake Paul's bringing to it, and say people go down a whirlwind of looking at boxing, what they'll come to understand is that mixed martial arts, or UFC in particular, shall I say, is putting on the number 1 versus the number 2 guys regularly, weekend on weekend. I mean, just over the course of the last year, think about all the fights that we've seen, all the fun fights that we've got coming up, and you know, all the top tier talent that is fighting each other regularly. We saw Colby Covington versus Kamaru Usman not that long ago, and that was a crazy fight between the clear number 1 and number 2 guys. We've seen John Jones fight all his top contenders. We've seen the middleweight division where Israel Adesanya is just taking out his top contender. It happens regularly, and we need that in boxing. And I've done a couple of videos on that. But without further ado, let's get into this video. So, coming into this fight, I think there's a lot of things to consider about Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury have a very intriguing stylistic matchup. And some of the things that Anthony Joshua brings to the table are some of the things that have caused Tyson Fury problems previously. And I've kind of given it away now. The first thing that jumps to my mind is Anthony Joshua's power. Now, I know what you guys are going to say, but Deontay Wilder probably hits harder than Anthony Joshua, and Fury was able to get through that. Now, here's the difference. The difference between Wilder and Anthony Joshua in terms of power is when it comes to the method in which it's delivered. Anthony Joshua is a lot more cerebral in how he delivers his power, and he'll pick his shots and he won't just swing everything into everything. Whereas we've seen with Wilder that he doesn't necessarily have the ability to disguise it behind his combinations, for example, or hide it behind his jab. Now, I think Wilder's a great fighter, doesn't get the respect that he deserves, but I think there's no doubt in the statement that Anthony Joshua will deliver his power in a very different way to Tyson Fury. And we know that Fury's been hurt and rattled before. Your chin doesn't get better after getting dropped the way that Fury did against Wilder in the 12th round. Yeah, he looked much better against Wilder in the second fight, but yeah, had a very, very different approach. So I think Anthony Joshua's power is going to be something that is very, very worth noting coming into this fight, especially when you consider some of the people like Steve Cunningham and Nevin Pajkic that have dropped Tyson Fury previously. Anthony Joshua is obviously a world above them. Another factor to consider coming into this fight is Anthony Joshua's size and strength. Now, obviously Tyson Fury is going to be the bigger man still. He's 6'9", Anthony Joshua is 6'6". He's obviously weighed in over 19 stones for his last fight, and Anthony Joshua weighed in about 16 and a half, I think just under 17 for his last fight. But the difference here between these both guys is that Anthony Joshua, I would imagine, is physically stronger when you look at them in the clinch and when you look at the way that they've handled certain fights. Vladimir Klitschko's an interesting one to look at, but more so when you consider the fact that Anthony Joshua is much bigger and considerably stronger than the opponents that Tyson Fury has been fighting previously. So Deontay Wilder, he's a little above a cruiserweight, and Anthony Joshua has gone all the way up to 17, 18 stones previously, and even beyond. So I think Anthony Joshua's natural size and strength is going to be so much vastly superior to anyone that Tyson Fury has been fighting over recent years, that's going to be something that he's going to come to note in there. Even if he himself is bigger than Anthony Joshua, Anthony Joshua's size and strength is definitely going to play a factor in this game. Anthony Joshua's versatility stands out to me in this, and it's kind of hard to judge what Anthony Joshua is going to bring to the table at this point. We know that Anthony Joshua can be a guy who just stands there in the pocket, who just fires fires shots at you, and he's confident in his power, speed, his chin, his defensive ability to be able to negate anything that you're going to throw at him, and he's going to be able to use those physical advantages that he has to take you out. That's who he was earlier in his career. We've seen against Andy Ruiz when he needed to that he approached the fight with a much more cerebral approach. He was very much movement based, ducking, diving, moving out of the way of anything Andy Ruiz was throwing at him. Now, whilst Andy Ruiz isn't technically the boxer that Tyson Fury is, I would say that he does have an advantage over Fury in hand speed. So if he was able to negate Andy Ruiz's hand speed, it bears reasoning that he can deal with Tyson Fury's hand speed. Obviously, the length and the range is completely different, but that versatility that Anthony Joshua brings to his game, and more recently the hybrid version of the both, where he kind of uses that to his advantage, it could be tricky for Tyson Fury. Now, Tyson Fury has versatility as well, but we'll talk about that in Fury's video. Anthony Joshua's technical ability. Now, when you've spent the last 2-3 years focusing on Deontay Wilder, you've prepared for a very specific fighter, a fighter that wings punches in an unorthodox way, a guy who doesn't technically move the way a boxer is supposed to move, particularly at the top echelon of the sport. With Anthony Joshua, what you got is a guy who is very, very technically sound. He's an Olympic gold medalist. He's been around for a long time. He's fought the best fighters in the world. His resume is extensive, and he's technically astute when it comes to boxing. His acumen as a boxer has grown over the years, and I think when it comes to his technical abilities, his ability to hide behind his jab, his defensive abilities, his movement on his feet, his shot selection, everything is sound. Now, obviously, Tyson Fury gets a lot of credit for his abilities, but I think Anthony Joshua is very, very, very much underappreciated when it comes to his abilities. Now, that brings me on to probably, I'm going to call it the number one, this ain't a countdown video, but let's call it the number one reason why I think Anthony Joshua is going to beat Tyson Fury or destroy him when they fight, is because he's consistently underestimated in the fight coming in with Tyson Fury. Now, don't get me wrong, I can see why people are picking Tyson Fury, but the way people are writing off Joshua as if he's some scrub from the streets who has never boxed before, has no abilities. We're talking about an Olympic gold medalist and a unified champion who's held all the belts since 2017. This is a guy who has been underlooked at every time this fight has been mentioned. So you got to wonder how much that's getting in Tyson Fury's head, and how overconfident he's going to be coming into this fight, overlooking Anthony Joshua the way that everyone else has been. Will he be doing that? Maybe not. Tyson Fury's a much smarter fighter than that. I know he says he trains like he's fighting the best fighter in the world every single time. Well, in this case, it's going to be true. He is truly going to be fighting the best heavyweight in the world, with the exception of himself. And the fact that Anthony Joshua is consistently underestimated could cause big, big problems for Tyson Fury. If you need evidence, look no further than Anthony Joshua himself, who overlooked and underestimated Andy Ruiz, and we saw how that went. So anyways, guys, those are my reasons on why Anthony Joshua will destroy Tyson Fury in their fight. I'm going to do a video on why Tyson Fury is going to destroy Anthony Joshua soon, so look out for that one. I've got the full breakdown, like I said, on my channel. Check that out. If you're new here, like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. And also, please comment below. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts on this fight. And thank you for watching, guys. I'm Rohan, and this is Mind for Combat.